All of the above? Good. That's what I like to hear. All right, so, well, I guess you guys go, correct? I think that's what happened last time. You ask questions and I answer them. So, I'm at your service.
Hi.
Hi.
I've got two questions. The first one's easy, yes or no. I'm not going to be offended if you say no. Would you like a lollipop?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you going to bring it to me? That's nice. Thank you. I'll take this one. Looks good. You seem like a nice guy. I usually don't take candy from... Unless I was a kid. Okay.
Okay, and second question is, last time you were here at Brian Austin Green, you were talking about maybe bringing back the show as like a DVD movie or something like that. Is there any news on any developments there?
To be honest with you, yes. Well, yes and no from my side, because when that was sort of being talked about a year ago, and then definitely about 5 or 6 months after, Brian was telling me that he and James Middleton and I think John Worth, but maybe Josh also, you know, we're trying to get this project off the ground of doing 3 sort of hour-and-a-half long sort of movies to wrap up the whole series, and I think the goal was to air on Sci-Fi and then go onto DVD and to sort of do a tour with it. And I know that they still own the brand, the company that produced the show still owned the very expensive brand of Terminator. So the goal was, they all wanted to make it, and sort of Brian came to me and Lena to see if we wanted to do it again, and of course we all do, and still do. However, on the production side of it, I'm not really that involved, and Brian's been busy acting and I've been busy acting, so I don't have many details to sort of recent details to give you, but it's definitely not gone. You know, I think there's still this this hope for it, so
Thanks.
Hopefully get to wear the boots again. I'm trying to open my lollipop and it's very stressful. Hi.
Hello. Right, I asked this last night.
Oh boy.
Right, at
The answer is 11 inches.
end of the show. Right, so at the end of the show, John travelled to the
Yes.
future.
Yes. She asked me a very, how shall I say, should have gone to university to have an answer for it question. About the outcome of the end of the series, basically, and I believe, if I remember correctly, the question was it that John was always supposed to travel to the future when he did, and thus everybody was never supposed to know who he was, and did Allison, the Cameron is based on, did she already have a relationship with Derek? At the time last night I answered, I didn't write the show, which I still hold up highly, but I will say, as far as I can tell, I don't believe that John was supposed to travel at the time that he did. It was a sort of an emergency evacuation, because what we'd sort of been told was the Catherine Weaver situation of it all really kind of blew a line through what was supposed to be the natural timeline. Of course, however, it was never supposed to be either that John traveled to the future already known and just was trusted. You know, we knew he had to prove himself, so really all it was that John traveled to a time before he was supposed to be known as the savior. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, and so it's that weird thing, which is what I quite like about the end, where it's actually a very natural evolution in the course of time, but with what we've seen and where he suddenly goes, it's all out of the balance that we knew of what we've been watching. Do you know what I mean? But if you really look at it as a timeline, it's quite natural. He's meeting all these fighters and warriors, and eventually he'll send his father back, and eventually he'll get to know his uncle, and eventually he'll make a robot based on her. So it is quite a hard thing to describe, and I've had a headache thinking about it, but it's a very clever question. I don't know, I hope that's the best answer I can offer. If not, you gotta get Josh Friedman up here. Get him out here, the writer.
And also, where would you have loved season
3
to go? And also, if there was a season 3, would you have loved it to be a kind of John Allison relationship?
Well, that was the intention that we knew of. The idea, as far as that we knew in advance, was that in the third season it was definitely going to be a kind of bizarre love triangle between John, Allison, and Cameron, because the chip of her traveled with John Henry. The chip was then reinstated into a new robot, and thus I had this cyborg that I had all this history with, who was Cameron, and then I had this girl who didn't know me. Or particularly like me, I think was the plan, but obviously in that situation you go for the robot. No, that choice, but no, but that was definitely, there was always going to be, I mean, because Josh was very particular about there never being too much romance or affection between John and Cameron. He just felt it was, you know, obviously we have our little bits, but he felt it was too far-fetched to play that. So he was kind of, I think he was excited at the proposition of having two human beings in a relationship. What a concept. Yeah, I would have liked that to happen. Yeah.
And one more.
It's like an almanac. That's right.
What was your favourite scene or episode in the show that you did?
My favorite that I did, or in general? Favorite episode?
Yeah.
My favorite episode in general is, my favorite of the first season is The Demon Hand, because I think the message of the show came across the most in that episode, and I think the ending with Summer doing her ballet and everything is quite beautiful. And I really like from the second season, I really like the last episode. The last two. I like when Derek dies and Sarah's, that came out, that's what I meant it. I like how Derek dies, I should say. And I like when, you know, Sarah's arrested and there's a lot of kind of drama ensuing in those episodes. And favorite scene to do was, I don't know. There were too many to count. I mean, I really had such a great time on this. I mean, any time I got to shoot with my TV mom was a lot of fun. So definitely personally, I enjoyed the most when it was Lena and I getting to just behave badly. But I actually really do like, I liked shooting the scene with Stephanie, who was just up here, I believe, where I reveal that I knew everything that was going on about Riley and everything. And I have the gun on her. I liked that because it was a kind of, finally, it was a moment to dispel all the sort of previous notions that John was kind of an idiot, you know, which a lot of fans had issues with in the beginning. And I liked that he got to really, kind of show off that he was worth his salt. So I liked, you know, and it was about a 5-page scene with only me speaking, which is quite daunting, like right now. But anyway.
And can you tell us anything about the Secret Circle?
Yes, The Secret Circle is the new, my return to TV, as it were. It's a show about a young girl whose mother is mysteriously killed, and she moves back to her mother's hometown, which is kind of this small, rural American town, and she meets me and a bunch of other kind of strange kids, and turns out that we're all these descendants of these witches from the 1600s, so we have these magical powers and that we're sort of not doing a very good job of controlling. And then she and I kind of fall for each other, but I'm still with another girl from the group, which, you know, when witchcraft is involved with crushes, it usually doesn't turn out very well, you know from experience. So no, I'm very excited about it. It's going to be, you know, we've only done the pilot. We start shooting the series in a couple weeks, and I'm hoping that we can kind of make the show progressively darker and edgier, and I'm excited. You know, we'll see. It's definitely a show that's very different from Terminator. I wanted to do something that was kind of more a little easier to follow and a little easier to sort of be a part of, because as you guys know, what I loved about Terminator is it's quite a dark and heavy adult show that you really have to apply your brain to, clearly from the first question that I'm still reeling from. I don't think we'll be having any of those on The Secret Circle, but I'm still very excited nonetheless.